I said pull up! You shotgun, stand up. Throw me my rifle. All right, boys, you can move out. From now on, we're going in different directions. Well, get! Oh! Oh! Yeah!
Morning, Bart. I was beginning to think that coach is never going to get here.
Looks like it woke you up.
Well, it makes a man sleepy. I've been over in that holler since yesterday afternoon. Kind of scared the coach might pass me during the night. The way he's traveling now, though, he'd have been by here 2 days ago. I'd have missed you altogether. Rough as you look, though, I can't say as I blame him.
Sam, you sure it's him?
Well, of course I'm sure. There ain't 100 Tate Kimbroughs.
There could be, but I'm only interested in one.
Well, wait till you see him for yourself. You'll know that's the one.
He's a big man in Sundown.
The biggest. He's got that town in his fist, and he's squeezing it hard. Ain't heard the folks complain much. Guess they're all scared.
Glad to hear he's doing so well. When a man's riding high, the ground comes up and hits him a lot harder when he falls.
Oh, why don't you rest a little while? You know, I ain't had nothing to eat since yesterday. We could make a little fire and cook up
We'll be eating when we get to sundown. Sunday?
Thursday.
What's all the commotion?
Tate Kimbrough's getting married.
Today? Why didn't you tell me?
Well, I didn't reckon it was important.
Sam, folks say the most important moment in a man's life is when he gets married.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. There's a pretty good eating house
Where's
down...
the barber shop?
Over there.
I'm not going to miss the most important moment in Tate Kimbrough's life. Man shouldn't go to a wedding with stubble on his face.
Man shouldn't go to a wedding on an empty belly, neither.
Go ahead and fill it. No reason for you to go, stomach empty or full.
Have to come back this afternoon, mister. It's my last customer. I'm closing up. I'll be open again at 2 o'clock.
What time's the big wedding today?
In about half an hour.
Ain't you almost finished with him? Shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to shave my whiskers.
I told you, mister, I'm closing up.
You wouldn't be going to a wedding looking like this, would you, Mr. Barber?
No, but...
That's what I mean.
I told you I'm closing up.
You told him 3 times.
You don't mind if I shave myself?
Oh, no. No, sir, I don't mind, not at all.
Thanks. Go ahead.
I take it you're good friends with Mr. Kimbrough.
Do you?
Well, looks like you've come a long way to attend his wedding.
We've come a long way.
Mr. Kimbrough is a very lucky man. He's marrying up with Miss Lucy Somerton, finest and prettiest young lady in Sundown.
Sounds like you think mighty highly of her.
Oh, yes, I certainly do.
Lady like that's making a big mistake, marrying a man as rotten as Tate Kimbrough.
I guess you figured out now we ain't friends with Mr. Kimbrough's.
You shouldn't talk like that about Mr. Kimbrough. Thank you, Mr. Somerton.
Oh, Bart, Mr. Somerton here is Lucy's papa.
Yeah? That's a shame.
morning, Mr. Somerton.
Good morning, Doctor.
How's Lucy feeling today?
Both the Somertons are enjoying excellent health, I'm happy to say.
Well, I wasn't inquiring about her health.
Being a physician, that should be your only concern.
Honey? Ruby?
I was just watching Mr. Somerton ride down the street in his fine buggy.
Of course, you made sure that he saw you.
He saw me. Imagine he must be a little upset having that Bible-quoting justice of the peace perform the ceremony instead of the Reverend Peterson.
You can just be the Reverend's out of town on account of you and me.
Oh, Tate. You're making a mistake. You'll still need me.
I never needed anybody.
Everybody's got to need somebody. You must think you need Lucy Somerton.
I'm marrying Lucy because I love her.
You love me. But you never married me.
Oh, it's different between you and me. You know that.
Yes, I guess I know.
It'd be embarrassing for Lucy if you stayed in town.
I'm leaving sundown tonight. I wouldn't want to embarrass Mrs. Kimbrough.
Honey, you really are something.
To change for the wedding.
You can't go to the wedding.
Now listen to me, Tate. I never crowded you. You know I always thought that someday you'd marry me. I've given you more than any woman should ever give a man. Even though things haven't worked out the way they should, I've got to be there.
To remind Lucy and her father and everybody else in town about us?
That's not the reason. I've got to be there for me, Tate. Don't you understand? For me. Maybe if I see you getting married, it'll be easier for me to understand that now you belong to somebody else.
Ruby, do me one last favor, will you? Don't sit in the front pew.
That sure is a good eating house down there on the corner.
These horses need food more than we do. Where's the stable?
Right down there, Stretch. Hey, Doc, come in here and give me a hand, will you? Yeah, sure.
You want to buy some feed for our horses, mister?
You'll have to talk to Abe about that. He's in here. I ain't wore these boots in 5 years. My feet must have grown some.
Horse.
Oh, who are you?
Want to buy some feed for our horses?
How many you got?
2.
Well, much obliged, Doc. Give me 50 cents and help yourself. Oh, I can't go to church smelling like a horse. Try some of it. It's real sweet smelling stuff.
Yeah,
You figure on staying in sundown for any length of time?
we could.
You know, there's a lot of folks around here that ain't interested in seeing you rebel. The war is over. I bet you still got plenty of folks down in Texas that think the war is still going on.
What makes you think we're from Texas?
From your talk, I sure didn't think you was Yankees. What brings you two fellas to sundown?
Take Kimbrough.
Oh, mighty fine fella, Mr. Kimbrough. Sure nice you got here in time for his wedding. Well, come on, Doc. We'll walk over to the church together.
I'm not going.
Oh, sometimes you take things too serious.
I don't think so.
Well, it's up to you.
Something bothering you, mister?
Were you afraid that Mr. Kimbrough wouldn't like it if you weren't in time for his wedding? Some folks around here figure that Sundown doesn't need any more of Tate Kimbrough's friends.
We ain't interested in what some folks around here figure.
Sheriff, I was shaving Mr. Somerton when these two men came into my shop. One was the fella I saw hanging around town a couple of days ago. The other one I never saw before.
Oh, what about him?
I don't like their looks, especially the one I never saw before. The nerve of him talking about Tate Kimbrough like he did. I tell you, Sheriff, he's a bad one. But what are you going to do?
Nothing he can do. He ain't broke any laws.
But he said that Tate Kimbrough was...
just stated an opinion. Now, you can't arrest a man for having an opinion. Can you, Sheriff? Good morning, gentlemen. What do you have?
You got anything to eat?
Restaurant right down the street, but it's closed.
2 whiskeys, then.
Money's no good today, mister. All the drinks are on Tate Kimbrough.
We're paying for our drinks.
There's no charge.
If you don't mind, we'd like to pay.
Give him back his money, Otis. That sign means what it says, mister.
So do I, Sheriff.
Well, just make sure everybody's got a full glass. The good health of Mr. and Mrs. Tate Kimbrough.
Sheriff, I'd sure appreciate it if you get my money out of there, wipe it off, and put it back on the bar.
Better hurry, Sheriff. I don't think Mr. Kimbrough would like you to miss his wedding.
Mister, you're figuring to stay on in Sundown. You're making a big mistake.
Otis, the sheriff left you a message job, but my friend and I'd like these drinks before we leave.
That's all right. You go right ahead. You paid for your drink.
Louis. I think I will have that drink. On me.
Doc,
Hello, Ruby.
do me a favor. Ride with me to the church,
Well, I wasn't planning on going.
please.
All right, Ruby.
I sure never expected Molly Chasen to see crossboys at the wedding. Huh.
Is something wrong, Barbara?
Oh, no, Mr. Chase. It's just that...
Just that what?
Well, none of us figured on seeing you here. On account of you and Tate ain't exactly friends.
Well, why not? I know different than the rest of you boys. You know we all feel the same about the groom.
The day's full of surprises.
What's she doing with him?
Make way for Mr. Kimbrough. Come on now, make way for Mr. Kimbrough. All right, everybody, stand aside and make way for the bridegroom. Morning, Mr. Kimbrough.
Morning, Zeke.
All right, folks, everybody inside. Men, leave your guns in the vestibule.
I never been to no wedding, even yours.
You stay here.
Oh, Bart.
Dear brethren, we're gathered together on this...
Sheriff, we shouldn't proceed with the ceremony with you toting a gun. You have a gun. Take it.
Dear brethren, we're gathered here together on this glorious day to unite Lucy Somerton and Tate Kimbrough in holy matrimony. Oh, friends, before I begin the ceremony, there's a question here has to be asked. Now, is there any man here who knows any reason why these two dear people should not be married? If so, let him speak or forever hold his peace. Lucy Somerton,
Hold
you
it.
take... Well, now, look here. Everybody's welcome as long as they leave their gun in the vestibule and they ain't got enough whiskey in them to make them troublesome.
You said if anybody had any objection to this wedding to speak up. That's what I'm doing.
We're not interested, stranger.
Kimbrough, we never laid eyes on each other before today, and we are not strangers. Think back to Sabine Pass and a girl named Mary.
I never heard of Sabine Pass.
Lying ain't gonna help you none.
Swede, get that man out of here so we can go on with our wedding.
Stay where you are.
You better leave town if you want to stay in one piece.
I'll leave when I finish what I came for.
Well, whoever you are and whatever you came for, you're not going to stop this wedding.
The name's Allison, miss. Bart Allison. If you marry this man, you'll be a widow by sundown. You. Take this money down to the precinct.
Good gracious, what's this for?
Maybe I just done you out of a wedding fee, so you can keep that money for performing Kimbrough's funeral services. You men sit down and stay quiet. Wagon!
Should have killed that fellow when he passed us on the street instead of there in church.
I didn't kill him.
Then what is all the fuss about?
I just told him I was going to.
You just stood up there in church, told Kimbrough you was gonna kill him. Bart, you must be plumb crazy.
I'm doing this my own way, Sam. For 3 years I've hunted Kimbrough, but he didn't know it. Before I settle with him, I want him to know he's being hunted.
You ain't hunting him no more. He's hunting you.
Hold up an Abe's livery stable. Now, don't worry, Tate. They ain't going nowhere. We got that whole stable covered, front and back. Seeing as how I'm your best man and got the ring, I figured I ought to get back so as we could get on with the wedding.
You've done the right thing, Sheriff. Now, if everybody will go back inside, we'll proceed with the ceremony.
Can't have a wedding without a bride.
Lucy! Charlie, I expect you to have Lucy back here at the church by 12 o'clock.
I don't think we ought to go ahead with this wedding until this man Allison is behind bars.
Don't worry about it.
I should think you'd be worried about him. He said he was going to kill you.
He's not going to kill me. Allison's not the first man that's had that thought in mind.
Well, it's more than just a thought with that one.
I told you not to worry about him, Charlie. I expect Lucy back here by 12 o'clock. I want you to get him now.
He won't come, Al. We can't get in there and get him without somebody getting shot up.
I pay you and the boys real good, Swede. If I didn't think a little gunplay would come up from time to time, you wouldn't be worth it.
He won't stay holed up forever. As soon as he makes his move...
You haven't got forever. I don't care how you do it. You've got exactly 1 hour to take care of Mr. Allison. I'll be at the hotel.
I wouldn't pass by the stable on the way. The law will not get there.
Tate, is there anything I can do?
How long has it been since you've handled a gun?
Gracious, not since the fracas up in Denver. I don't like guns much.
Mm-hmm. That figures.
Well, Ruby, looks like the wedding's been called off. For a while, anyway.
That fella sure was a nervy cuss, wasn't he, Doc?
Yeah, it's too bad he didn't use a little common sense along with his nerve.
What do you mean?
Well, now he hasn't got a chance of accomplishing what he came here for.
Herb, you and Pete get up above that eating house. Unless one of them shows his face, you just keep shooting at that window nearest Spanish when he makes his move. Allison, unless you and your partner want to die in that stable, you throw out your guns and come on out.
I ain't ready yet. When I am, I'll be coming out the same time my gun does.
If you don't come out, we're coming in.
You sure would be making a big mistake.
There ain't no way they can get at us from the rear.
Seemed awful anxious to come in here, so bring him in. Where you going, Doc?
I left my satchel in here. I figure I'm going to need it.
Come on in. Fix him up.
A lot of people hope this would be more serious, Spanish.
Including you, Doc?
Man takes a hand in something that's no concern of his. He ain't usually so lucky.
Take your hand away. Here, bite. Stand up, Spanish.
Ain't it lucky you brought the iodine dye?
Now, you just go on about your business and tell everybody else to do the same. This here thing's between Kimbrough and me.
You had your chance to kill Tate. You won't live long enough to get another.
Come on, Spanish.
You'd better move along too now, Doc.
Spanish is right, Allison. It's a pity, but when a man has bent on revenge, he has a one-track mind. He seldom accomplishes what he sets out to do. You sound like you wouldn't mind seeing Kimbrough killed yourself, Doc. No, I guess I wouldn't. I don't believe in violence, but maybe that's the only way Sundown can get rid of Tate Kimbrough. What did he do to you? Never did anything to me, personally. After the war, I came out west to set up practice. I fell in love with Sundown the first time I saw it. After I got to know the people, I fell in love with them, too. When Kimbrough came to town a couple of years ago, things changed. People changed. I don't imagine I have to tell you how it feels to see something you love destroyed. Who's Mary? She was Bart's wife.
You got what you came in here for. Now get.
Bart, when you told me to check Sundown for a fellow named Tate Kimbrough, you didn't tell me you was aiming to kill him because of Mary.
Now you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I drove off and left you, Dad.
I know you were terribly upset.
First, that woman has the colossal gall to show up at my wedding. And then that beast of a man interrupts the whole thing and tells me I'll be a widow before the day's over.
I was there, dear. I know what happened.
And do you know what happened in Sabine Pass? And about a woman named Mary?
You know I don't.
Well, I haven't heard any shooting for a few minutes. Maybe that means they've gotten him.
No, he's holed up in the livery stable. He won't come out and nobody will go in to get him. Darling, Tate expects you to be at the church at noon. Will I tell him you'll be there? Now. In spite of everything that's happened, I see no real reason why you shouldn't go through with the wedding. Lucy, I have to tell Tate something.
Well, when I've made up my mind what I'm going to do, I'll tell him myself.
One shot at those Texans every half hour ain't getting us no place. I'll bet Tate's really fuming having his wedding held up like this.
Now you get this straight. I pay you a notch higher than the rest, so I expect more from you.
You pay for my services, Tate, but you haven't got enough money to buy my life. A man can't storm that stable without getting himself killed.
Spanish is still alive.
How about it, Spanish? You willing to try again?
Not alone. But I'll try it again if you side me, Swede.
Well, what about it, Swede?
The Spanish has never been too bright. Maybe he doesn't mind getting a belly full of lead, but I do.
Maybe he isn't too bright. But he don't look like he scares his
I'm not scared, Tate. I'm just using good sense.
He's right, Tate. All you have to do is wait.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? Well, I'm not going to wait. So, Swede, stop telling me how much sense you got. And start living up to that reputation you've been bragging about. Now go on down there and blast him out of that hole and stop acting like a scared kid.
You know, that last part could go for you, too.
Maybe you're not scared enough of the right people.
Well, if you're in such a hurry to take care of him, why don't you go tackle the job yourself?
Come in.
Tate, I don't...
You know what, Charlie?
Well,
Yes, Charlie?
I doubt very much if Lucy will go through with the wedding. That is, at least until this man Allison
There's no reason for Lucy to concern herself about Allison.
I think there is.
This widow by sundown thing is hardly a happy thought for a girl to have on her mind when she's taking her marriage vows.
No, I don't suppose it is. I don't think Allison can be feeling quite as sure of himself as he did when he sounded off at the church. He must realize he'll never get out of that stable alive. Now, if I was in his spot, I'd jump at the chance of riding out of this town in one piece. Wouldn't you, Charlie?
I certainly would.
So you go on down and give him that chance.
Me? Why me?
I don't want the rest of the town to think that I'm willing to let him go after that threat he made this morning. Of course, Charlie, I couldn't go in the stable and tell him myself. I think you can understand that.
Well, of course, but how about Swede here?
Swede, go down and tell the boys to hold that fire in case Allison agrees to accept Mr. Somerton's offer.
Are you willing just to let him ride out, Tate?
Sure. What's worrying you, Charlie?
Well, well, this puts me in an awkward position.
Well, what about me? A thing like this can start barreling, start people talking. Once Allison is out of the way and Lucy and I are married, the talking will taper down and things will drop right back into normal. We wouldn't want anything to change, would we, Charlie?
No, I guess not.
You and I have always understood one another, haven't we, Charlie?
Well, at least I've always understood you. I'll speak to him.
Well, I'll be. Next to Kimbrough, that's about the last fella I'd figure on coming to pay us a visit.
Allison. Mr. Allison, I'd like to speak to you.
And start.
I'd rather come inside.
I can hear you just fine from where you are.
You must realize you men are trapped in there. Unless you forget that foolish threat you made at the church.
I ain't going to.
Then you're a complete fool.
That ain't no way to talk to a man who saved your daughter from making an awful mistake.
I came down here to offer you a chance to ride out of sundown. The sheriff is willing to let you leave town.
You mean Kimbrough's willing, don't you?
I can't much blame him. You go on back and tell Kimbrough we'll stand.
Be reasonable, man. Save your life and ride out of town. You'll be better off than when you rode in.
How would we?
Be very blunt, I'll make it worth your while.
How much?
$500.
That ain't very much money for 3 years' work. We got a lot of traveling expenses tied up in Kimbrough. Hey, Bart, how do you like this father offering money to save Kimbrough's skin so his daughter can marry up with him? Lucy always looked like a pretty good-looking girl to me to have her father going around trying to buy her a husband.
I'm not trying to buy my daughter a husband.
Don't know what else you could call it, Somerton.
Bart, I think you've done a fool's thing. After all that searching around, it seems like you'd have been satisfied to just kill him on sight.
Even a rattler gives a warning.
Oh, yeah? Well, if they gave as much advance notice as you're giving that Kimbrough, rattlesnakes would be as out of date as them dinosaurs. What time you figure it to be?
Sun's throwing a pretty good shadow now. It must be now under 2.
Oh, my old belly's growling like a trapped bear. Bart, I think you ought to have snapped up Somerton's offer.
There ain't nothing to stop you from picking him up on it, Sam.
Well, probably both be as dead as a pole beef by supper time anyway. I sure ain't hankering to try and argue my way past old St. Peter on an empty stomach.
Allison! The offer still stands, but it ain't going to much longer. If you're smart, you'll ride out of town while you got the chance.
Sweet!
Give me another drink, will you, Otis?
Me too.
Oh, I wish those fellas would hurry up and get out of there so I could get in and get my other boots. These things are killing me. Hey, Doc, come and get these things off of me, will you?
Yeah, and you can send him a bill for it too, Doc.
That Swede is the shyest sheriff I ever saw. Look at him. He's been doing nothing but just stand there.
There's nothing keeping you from going down there, Barber. You're not tied down.
Isn't any of my business. Besides, I wouldn't want to do that, Tate. If I went down and took care of those two, I'd be showing up our sheriff.
Sweet! You still got your prayer book on you?
Oh, I sure do, Mr. Kimbrough. Never without it.
Well, the saloon's no place for a staunch citizen like you. Come on.
Is there something eating you, Doc?
No, nothing bothering me, Morley. This affair's no concern of mine.
After all that's happened, Lucy needs time to think it over.
We've wasted too much time already. The train pulls out of Silver Springs tonight at 8 o'clock. Mr. and Mrs. Tate Kimbrough are going to be on it.
I wouldn't count on that if I were you.
But I am counting on it, Charlie. The only changes we're making in our plans is getting married here instead of the church. Now, honey, hasn't this gone far enough? When we decided to get married, I didn't think it'd be necessary for me to chase after you anymore. And come to think of it, Lucy, it wasn't me did the chasing.
You don't have to remind me of that, Tate. I'm really no different than Ruby, am I?
You must be. I never asked Ruby to marry me.
And what about Mary?
I never asked her either. You know, there are some girls a man gets to know pretty well without having to ask them anything.
How well did you get to know Mary?
Oh, well enough never to consider marrying her. Lucy, I never pretended to be a saint. And you never tried to pass yourself off as a wide-eyed innocent. You knew about Ruby and me and...
Tate, why does this man want to kill you?
Maybe it's because he doesn't understand women the way that I do. Lucy, I promise you when you wake up tomorrow morning, you won't be a widow. You'll be a very happy and content Mrs. Tate Kimbrough. Now, forget all about this fella.
I can't, Tate.
Afternoon, Lucy.
May I come in?
Paul sends you here?
Why should my father ask me to come here?
Well, he might have figured you'd have a little better luck than he did.
What are you talking about?
Come on in.
Your pa offered to pay us to leave town.
I don't believe you.
It's true. Maybe your father's more interested in having this wedding come off than you are.
Look, I'm marrying Tate Kimbrough because I want to, not because my father or anyone else wants me to.
You're a stubborn gal. I was hoping you stopped by to thank me.
Thank you for embarrassing me in front of the whole town.
I did you a favor, Lucy, and it won't take long to get over your embarrassment.
And how long do you think it'll take you to get over the fact that Tate once took a woman away from you?
I'd expect Kimbrough to explain it to you that way.
Well, what other way is there to explain it? Instead of putting all the blame on Tate, why aren't you big enough to admit that whatever happened was just as much and probably more your fault than anyone else's? Just because your girl liked the way Tate looked doesn't give you the right to kill him.
I don't suppose he bothered to tell you that that girl was my wife.
Well, does even that give you the right to kill him? Listen, when you're in love the way you must have been, the truth isn't an easy thing to face up to. No man, including Tate Kimbrough, can take another man's wife away from him unless she wants to be taken. So maybe you didn't lose anything that was really very worthwhile.
Bart, I was just thinking.
Well?
That little girl had a point.
Did I hear you right?
If I'd known you was hunting Kimbrough because of Mary, I'd have tried to stop you from coming here. Bart, I gotta tell you something about Mary. She wasn't the girl you thought she was, and Tate Kimbrough, he wasn't the first man.
Sheriff, that offer of yours still go?
It's about time you started showing some sense.
Does it or don't it still go?
It does.
Then my partner's coming out.
I'm staying.
Get your horse, Sam, and get moving.
I ain't leaving, Bart.
I told you to get moving.
I won't need my horse just to go across the street to get something to eat. I'm going to that restaurant, then I'm coming back.
Hold it. Drop your gun belt.
Anybody home here? Pancho! Jose! Guadalupe! Maria!
Maureen.
Maureen. I was going to have some enchiladas, but maybe I better make it Irish stew, huh?
Well, you can have anything you want.
Well, bring me eggs then. Lots of them. Maureen.
I think you made a mistake trusting the sheriff, Sam.
I made a lot of mistakes in my time, Doc. One more ain't gonna hurt much.
What happened between you and your friend?
I got this from trying to tell him the truth.
Sometimes the truth can be mighty painful.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe you can't convince a man like him about something he just don't want to know about.
You knew Mary.
Here, this ought to hold you for a while.
Bye. I don't know whether to gulp it right down or just let it sit there and admire it.
Well, I always figured I could go for a man as uncertain as him. Looks like it's been a long time between you. Want some more coffee?
Mm-hmm.
You did know Mary. I knew her. Maybe I should say I knew more about her. She was no wife for Bart Allison, Doc, or no other man. Beautiful, though. Beautiful as the springtime. Wild. The way I figure it, Kimbrough must have been one of the last fellows she got a hankering for. Anyway, about a week before Bart got back from fighting the war, she killed herself. On account of the way she was, I guess that's all she could do.
So now Allison's taking out all of his hate on one man.
He don't figure there was ever anybody else. Doc, I'm going back over there and tell Bart about this whole mess if I have to hit him over the head and tie him up. There ain't no more men like Bart Allison. I ain't gonna let him kill him over the likes of Mary.
I don't think they're gonna let you back in there.
Oh, sure they will. We'll get on our horse and we'll ride out of this town and maybe he can start living like a man's supposed to.
What man knows how a life should really be lived?
He'll know. He'll know as soon as he gets the memory of that woman out of his craw, he'll know.
Well, food's on me, Sam.
Thanks, son. You keep that coffee hot, honey. I'll be back one of these days.
Texas. Where are you heading?
I ain't about to walk back to Texas. No objection to me getting my horse.
No, go ahead.
Thanks.
You better get away from there, Doc, before you get hurt.
Doc, you gotta tell Bart. Mary was no good.
How can you all stand around doing nothing when a man's been murdered right before your eyes? Shut up, Doc!
Sweet Hanson, I'm gonna take you, and when I do, you're gonna see me coming.
I'll be waiting for you, Allison.
And he won't be coming alone.
Doc, go on up the street and join the rest of your fine citizens.
Allison, Sam wanted you.
What he wanted don't make no difference now.
Well, if you'd listen to me, I think it might.
I ain't listening no more. Where I come from, a law man don't shoot an unarmed man in the back, and when he gives his word, you can count on it.
There's liable to be some more shooting, so everybody off the street.
If we're only just going to be spectators to the next killing, we might as well go inside and wait with the others.
Their consciences will rest easier if they don't see what happens to Allison. Doc, if you'd been tending bar as long as I have, you wouldn't expect so much out of the human race.
Hey, Otis! Come on in here and start pouring some more whiskey.
Another one. This is still a saloon, Morley. How about joining me in a drink?
I don't want another drink.
How about you joining me, Mr. Justice of the Peace?
Oh, good gracious, no, I haven't touched a drop of whiskey in years.
Is that a fact?
Gospel truth, isn't that right, Otis?
You never fool anyone, Zoran. So why don't you drink out in the open the way a man's supposed to? Take him back here! Leave it alone!
Let him go.
You had no call to do that. We all knew that Zoran was a drinking man.
I figured it was about time we let him know that we know. Did you see the old hypocrite's face when I broke his whiskey bottle? He claims he's going to be a real preacher someday. I'll bet he'll never dare get back in that pulpit again, even for a wedding.
You all think that's really funny?
What's the matter with you, Doc?
Why should Zoran be the only man forced to see himself the way he really is? Why, if we all faced up to the truth, our heads would be hanging lower than his is right now.
Well, how you figure that?
Well, we all heard our fine sheriff offer to let those two men ride out of town unharmed if they'd come out without their guns. We all saw what happened.
You know dang well he ain't our sheriff, Doc. He's Kimbrough's sheriff.
But he should be ours, Abe. This is our town. We're responsible for everything good and everything bad that happens in it. Kimbrough couldn't have changed Sundown if we hadn't helped him.
I ain't never helped Kimbrough.
We've all helped him. Haven't we, Mr. Morley? By doing nothing, just like we're doing now. Sure, Spanish and the sheriff pulled the triggers that killed that Texan. But we're all guilty. Just as guilty as they are. And unless we do something about it, there's another killing coming up.
You're sure keeping me waiting a long time, Allison.
There isn't anyone here who hasn't lost something since Tate Kimbrough came to town. If we let this chance pass without doing anything, I doubt that we'll ever get back what we've lost.
I hadn't noticed Mr. Somerton had lost anything, Doc. He's done pretty well the last couple of years.
Perhaps you hadn't noticed it, but I've lost more than anyone else. I lost my self-respect.
Where are you going, Lucy? What's going on in here?
I don't know, Tate. But whatever it is, I like it.
It wouldn't surprise me, Doc, if you weren't stirring things up a bit.
I've certainly been trying.
I'd stop if I were you.
You know, Mr. Morley, I think Allison deserves a better chance than his partner got. What do you think?
I think you're right, Doc. You're just as right as rain. Old Charlie Somerton ain't the only one that lost his self-respect. But I am to do something about getting mine back. Now, I always figured that our sheriff was a coward unless he had all the odds of going for him. So, if it's all right with my boys, we'll go over there and just even them odds up a little.
Waiting for 2 years for something like this to happen. Looks like maybe Allison's coming to town was all we needed to get us back on the right track.
All right, up. Up. Throw it out.
Drop it. And the belts.
Looks to me, Morley, like you and your C-Cross boys are going out of your way to make trouble.
Maybe so, but we just got to figuring that a man's got to draw the line someplace if he's going to go on living with himself. And that's just what we're doing. Now, Sheriff, if you want that Texan, you're going to have to take him all by yourself.
Interfering with the law is a pretty serious offense, Morley.
Oh, your boys ain't lawmen. The fact is, they was pretty decent ranch hands so Kimbrough put his brand on them. Now go ahead, do your duty. Jack, give the sheriff back his gun. Maybe we best get back inside. Looks like there's going to be some more shooting.
Sweetie, Sam never had a chance to use his gun, and you won't either. Start walking.
Let's have a look at it.
Looks like I'm gonna have to go over to that hotel and pry Kimbrough loose.
In a half an hour, this hand will be so swollen you won't be able to use it. Go over there and sit down.
By that time, I'll be finished what I came here for.
Allison, I want you to listen to me. Sam thought more of you than anyone else in the world. That's why he wouldn't hurt you.
Sam never hurt anybody in his life on account of me is dead. Should have been me, but you can't change things by wishing.
All he wanted...
Or by talking.
And there's some things you can't change with bullets.
Looks like you're doing your job real good, so don't spoil it by some of your philosophizing. Doc, if it just so happens I ain't able to bury Sam, I'd appreciate it if you'd take care of it.
I'll take care of it, Bart.
Thanks.
Tate, you're gonna be next. How can you find anything to laugh about?
It's really very funny.
Funny?
Yeah, that a woman like Mary Allison can cause all this commotion.
Take me with you?
I can't.
Please.
I'm not going anyplace.
Tate, you can meet him in a gunfight. He'll kill you.
Or I'll kill him. It's sure gonna be one way or the other.
But it doesn't have to be that way if you left town.
I'm staying. I got a lot of time and effort in this town. Had everything my way until Allison came along.
Things aren't going to be the way you want them any longer, Tate. They're not afraid of you anymore. Don't you understand? You've lost everything.
As soon as Allison is taken care of, things will slip right back into place.
How can they? You've lost Spanish and Swede. There's no one left to help you.
The world's full of people like Spanish and Swede. Just got to get by Allison. I'll replace them easy enough.
Please don't try to shoot it out with him.
I gotta.
Why?
Survival to most people means just staying alive. To me, it means more than that.
There's nothing more important than staying alive.
Ruby, I haven't got time to argue the point with you. Well, I better start showing my face. It wouldn't do to have people think that Kate Kimbrough's afraid.
But you are afraid.
But nobody's gonna know about it but me and you. Why'd you take the sign down, Otis?
Well, the way things was going.
Put it back up there.
Looks like there's a lot of changes going on today, Tate. I never saw you carrying a gun before.
I don't like using a gun, but I can if I have to.
We all figured that you'd leave town before you'd face up to Allison. Thought your boys standing by to help you out.
You mean that's what you were hoping I'd do, don't you?
That's right. Probably Allison don't know it, but he's done this town a lot of good since he come here. And I just hate to see you get lucky and beat him to draw.
Well, if I do get lucky, you'll find out that things haven't changed as much as you think.
But that's where you're wrong. Because no matter what happens between you and Allison, you're finished in sundown.
We'll see, Molly. We'll see.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
If you could get that message over to Allison, you'd save me a lot of trouble. No more, Otis.
If you're not going to drink anymore, why don't you go on outside and get things over with?
I'm in no hurry. No hurry at all.
Mr. Ellison, you were right. You did do me a big favor. I came here to help you. You said I ought to thank you for stopping the wedding. Well, you were right about that. But you're wrong about going down there now. Tate's already lost everything. The town, the power he had. Me, if he ever really wanted me. Don't you see, if you go out there and try to kill him...
Now, you just stay here inside with Doc, where you belong.
Zoran, your cup finally runneth over. I guess I can't keep Mr. Allison waiting any longer. Thanks, Otis. Go tell Otis to pour you a drink. Allison! This what you've been waiting 3 years for?
have to do it, Tate. Couldn't let him kill you.
Get up, Kimbrough, and pick up your gun.
Haven't you had enough hate for one day? If you killed Tate and 300 more, you still couldn't change things. You were married, but you never had a wife. Do you hear me? You never had a wife. How can you get revenge for something you never had?
Get up, Kimbrough. Stay out of this, Doc.
I can't, Allison. Sam said he hoped you'd start living the way a man should live. The only way you can do that is to know the truth. He tried to live long enough to tell you. You just heard it from Ruby. I heard it from Sam. You're gonna need some patching up before you leave town. Lucy, get my satchel.
Otis, this is a day for a celebration. Oh, boy! Come on back in here and I'll buy drinks for everybody. Fill Mr. Allison's glass up first.
I'll pour my drinks myself and pay for my drinks myself.
But Allison, you done this town a big service. We feel it, Well, there certainly was no call to do that.
You're an ungrateful cuss, Allison. If it wasn't for Morley here, you wouldn't be standing drinking that whiskey.
Where I come from, folks don't celebrate or have a big to-do when a man acts the way a man's supposed to act. Morley, if you'd remembered you're a man before Swede and Spanish shot Sam in the back, I'd have joined your celebration.
I'm sorry. I wish I had remembered sooner.
John, we just can't let him ride away. If it wasn't for him...
Yes. He changed things for everybody in town. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do for him. I'll tell you one thing. None of us will ever forget the day that Bart Allison spent in Sundown.